Hello, good afternoon, dear children. Today we'll be doing a poem by Matthew Arnold's Dover Beach. Now, let me tell you something about Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold was a Victorian poet. Alfred Tennyson, Lord Tennyson was regarded as the representative of the Victorian age, but Matthew Arnold was also an important representative of the Victorian age, that is, the latter half of the 19th century. And Matthew Arnold is regarded as a pessimistic poet because you see, Victorian age was the time when science came up, when industrialization came up, when urbanization came up. And because of all these things, naturally, it had a great impact upon the religion and upon the politics and upon the cultural life of the times. Due to the presence of science, everything depended upon the cause and effect theory. That is, everything was based upon reasoning. And if you all remember Alexander Pope, he was supposed to be the most representative poet of the 18th century and the most, you can say, the poet who wrote poems concerned with reasoning only. And Matthew Arnold, of course, was also a very, very important poet. And Alfred Lord Tennyson was able to take things in stride. He accepted the changes in life, he accepted the changes in religion and the politics of the time. But Matthew Arnold was very, very much depressed and disturbed by this lost faith in religion, in Christianity, in beliefs, in culture, because of the coming of the modern science. And there was a great destruction of life in this modern age. People, were very disturbed. Doubt, disbelief, and distrust, overpowered the minds of the people, and especially who do not want to leave the traditions of the past and adopt the new things. Now, change is the phenomena of life. So, whatever changes keep coming in your times, you have to accept them. And these changes not only affect your daily lives, but at the same time, they have a deep impact upon literature also. Now, this poem, Dover Beach, this was published in one of his collection of poems, of new poems, known as New Poems, in 1867. And this poem is especially very, very much representative of Matthew Arnold because it states the very essence of his thought. And at the same time, it also gives a proper definition of his poetry, and which was the criticism of life. For Matthew Arnold, the definition of poetry was criticism of life. So, in this particular poem, you can say the very title Dover Beach. Now he is standing by the side of the Dover Beach, and it is a sort of a dramatic monologue because the speaker is speaking to his own self and imagining that he is talking to his lady love, and the reference could be to his lady love or to his wife also, who is there in his mind, and he's talking about the beauty. The first stanza, describes the beauty of the landscape, the beauty of the sea, and the beauty of the waves dashing against the shore and going back, because he says the very first sentence is, the sea is calm tonight. Now, the very first statement, calmness, states soothness, and at the same time, solace, peace, comfort, all these thoughts, come into your mind. And tonight, that he's standing there by the side of the sea, or watching, overlooking the beach, and he's watching the movement of the waters, the movement of the waves coming in, dashing against the shore and going back, but at the same time infusing that feeling of peace, infusing that feeling of calmness within, because he says the sea is calm tonight. And calm as is also denoting there is no disturbance, there is no disquietude, and there is no clamor outside in the world. For he says, the tide is full, the moon lies fair upon the streets on the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. And the tide is full, that is, the sea is there in its full way at the same time, and the moonlight which is falling upon the streets, that is falling upon the beach, it's making the pebbles shine, it is making the water shine, it is giving an aura of a moonlit night, he says. And that French coast, the light gleams and is gone. That is, you can see the shining moonlight upon the waves, which glimmers for a moment, which shines for a moment, and then it passes away. It fades away. The cliffs of England stand glimmering and vast, and on the other side of the beach, he can see the vast cliffs. The cliffs are the small hills on the side of the England, which you can see them standing tall and straight, and indicating the beauty of the landscape in the sense because the moonlight is also falling. The strands of moon rays are falling on those cliffs also. He says, sweet is the night. And he says, out in the tranquil bay, come to the window, sweet is the night air. And he says, come to the window. The very call, come to the window is an indication that he is referring to his lady love or to his wife. He says, come to the window, sweet is the night air. That the atmosphere is soothing, the atmosphere is calm, and the perfume, or rather the scent that is emanating from that particular beach is giving a calm and soothing effect. So he says soothing is the calm is the scene, and sweet is the night air. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon blanched lands. And he says, except the only disturbance you can say, or the only roar that you can feel at that particular moment, is the roaring of the waves who come with full flow dashing against the shore. And that particular moment, and that particular, you can say, the strands of moonlight that is blanched upon the sea waves as they come and move forward towards the beach. So that is why he says moon blanched land. That is the rays of moonlight, the silvery light that is falling upon the beach. He says, listen, you hear the grating roar? Now, see, in that quietude, he does not feel any disturbance, and therefore says, listen, can you hear? Can you hear the sound? Even though everything is calm and quiet and peaceful, but can you hear the grating roar? So the only disturbance is the grating sound, that rough sound of the pebbles that are dashing against the shore, falling there and then going back. He says, you hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back. That is, these small pebbles, these small stones that are being brought forth and placed on the ground. And then again, when the waves come in the second flow, they take it back with them and fling at their returns up the high strand. That is, when the waves come and take back those pebbles, they fling back, that is, throw back those pebbles back on the shore, he says, with a force. And this particular movement, coming and going, it begins and ceases. That is, this flow of the pebbles coming and going, dashing against the shore, is also the flow of life that keeps occurring. That is, whatever the changes come with time. And these changes, the ebb and flow of the time also shows the ebb and flow of the changes that keep occurring and reoccurring, and then naturally taking us back to the past, reminiscing the past also, which you cannot forget, but at the same time giving you the hope of adopting the present new phase of life, or the present changes in the time. The time brings about those changes, he says, and then again bring with tremulous cadence low. Tremulous, that is when you tremble, you shake with fear, or you shake with terror, or you shake with, sometimes with happiness. So the tremulous cadence is the sound of the waves. So this tremulous sound of the pebbles being dashed against the shore, he says, and bring the eternal. But these pebbles, or this greeting roar of the pebbles dashing and flinged against the shore, and then moving back, this tremulous sound, brings in the eternal note of sadness. Now, this particular sentence is very important in Arnold Dover Beach, because it talks about the note of sadness. Now, Arnold was noted as a melancholic poet, as a pessimistic poet also. So he does not, this brings an eternal, that is something never ending note of sadness. That is, he feels that dejection, that depression within him, when he is talking about that particular aura or that particular period of time with its oncoming changes. Sophocles, now in the next stanza, he says, Sophocles long ago heard it on the Asian. He says, it's not only me that I have heard. It's not simply me, but Sophocles, that is the Greek tragedian, he also heard it on the Aegean Sea, that is the sea that is there in the Greece on the shore, which divides Greece from Asia Minor. So he, that famous hero, he also saw this change that took place, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. That is, it's not only me that I am disturbed, even Sophocles was disturbed by the turbid. Turbid is the disturbance, the tremulousness, the disturbance, the disquietude, that ebb and flow. It's not a smooth flow, but it is that tremulous disturbance which keeps coming and flowing with the passage of time. So, this change, these changes that occurred during his time, was also felt by him as it is felt by me too. And we find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea, and says we. When he says we means Sophocles and my own self. It is not only me, but we, the people like me, have found this disturbance while hearing the noise of the waves standing by the English Channel, by the Northern Sea, the North Sea, or the English Channel. Now, the next stanza is very important because the metaphor that is uses, the sea of faith, he refers it and compares faith with the sea of faith. That is, sea is something which continuously flows. The waters of the sea is in a state of flow. So faith is something, a trust is something which should never waver, never vary with time. But this sea of faith, he says, was once too full, and round earth's shore lay like a folds of the bright girdle furled. He says, it was once too sure. That is, even he never felt any disquietude in life, any disturbance, any chaos, any confusion in life. So once, that is before the coming of the science, before the coming of the industrialization, before the coming of the changes with the passage of time, he felt that this sea of faith surrounded the earth like a girdle. Now girdle is an ornamental belt which people wear around the waist, so in order to make you look more beautiful, and it enhances the beauty of your body, your personality. In the same way, if you have faith in life, if you have faith in Christianity, if you have faith in God, that propels you to move forward in life. So, this seaward phase was also once too full, and which surrounded the whole earth, which filled mankind with hope, with beauty, with love, with passion. But now, but now comparing it with the present times, he says, I hear it only, its melancholic, long withdrawing roar. Now, see the very phrases that in this poem is very famous for the images that he uses. And he says, with melancholy, melancholy sadness, long, that is lengthy. I mean, it's something which is enervating and which never dies out, long withdrawing roar. That is when it is moving out. I mean, the roar is that, the sound of dejection and the sound of hopelessness. Long withdrawing roar, retreating, going back to the breath of the night wind, down the vast edges drear and naked shingles of the world. He says, the changes that are brought by time, the doubt, disbelief, and suspension, they all are brought by the waves of the sea of faith. And they are brought from the surface of this earth, filling the earth with loss of hope and with dejection. And you can say also it grips the world with sorrow and human misery. So the world is gripped with this human misery and sorrow. No longer we find this faith within us, and due to this loss of faith, we are mingled with the sorrow and miseries of the time. Last stanza is very beautiful because he says, If there is a problem, if there is a state of hopelessness, there is also a hope within, something which can redeem that loss, which can rejuvenate your life. And therefore, he says, our love, let us be true to one another, to one another for the world, which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy nor love nor light, nor certitude nor peace nor help for pain. And we are here on a darkling pane, swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. So he says, we are here. He says, this world, our love. So the only hope is that at least he's calling to his lady love also, that at least have faith in each other, have love for each other, because the world has neither the peace nor the certitude nor the calm nor the quiet. The world is in a state of a turmoil. The world is in a state of disturbed darkling plane. When he calls it darkling plane, that means he's talking about the earth as a dark field, and where people are fighting with each other, where ignorant armies, we are ignorant because we have no knowledge. We are devoid of knowledge of humankind. And that is why we are fighting, we are giving into disquietude, we are giving into doubts and disbeliefs. And all these doubts and disbeliefs are because of the lack of knowledge. And we are clashing, we do not know for what we are clashing for. And ignorant armies, we says, we are ignorant armies. This lack of knowledge is like we do not have the knowledge within us. So, at least this feeling of passion, this feeling of love can help us to have faith in each other to make life more beautiful. So, this last stanza is also reminds me of Shelley's poem, Stanzas Written in Dejection near Naples, in which he says the similar thing. For he says, alas, I have no hope, nor hope, nor I have no hope, nor health, nor peace within, nor calm around, nor that content surpassing wealth, the sage in meditation found, and walked with inward glory crowned. Nor fame, nor power, nor love, nor leisure. Others I see whom these surround. Smiling they live and call life pleasure. To me, that cup has been dealt in another measure. Both Shelley and Arnold are regarded as melancholic poets. Shelley was, of course, a romantic poet, and Arnold is a Victorian poet. But these lines in stanzas written in this section are very much similar to the thought that Arnold has expressed in the last stanza when he also talks of neither peace nor love, nor certitude, nor hope within mankind. I hope I have made myself explicit. Thank you so much.